这些我都不想富贵了，我就想捡个他回个本。
走！啊！今天的推手。
Covered in today's China Truths.
The collapse of hypermarket chains in China, large supermarkets closing one after another. The wave of bankruptcies and collapses of supermarket chains in China has not stopped. On October 10th, Yonghui Supermarket did not receive the capital transfer payment of 300 million yuan and demanded payment from Dalian Yujin, Wang Jianlin, and others. The case must be submitted to economic dispute arbitration pending judgment. Notably, on June 30th, Japanese department store Isetan's Shanghai location officially closed after 27 years of serving the community. This closure is part of a wave affecting long-standing hypermarkets and large department stores in mainland China. Previously, the high-end City Shop supermarket chain in Shanghai closed. The Foodie supermarket chain declared bankruptcy. The famous RT Mart supermarket chain shut down many stores nationwide. The third-largest supermarket chain in China under the Suning Group closed most of its branches, and the long-standing Metro supermarket chain in Shanghai ceased operations. This marks a wave of closures and bankruptcies in the department store and supermarket industries, as well as e-commerce malls in mainland China. In recent years, China's department store industry has seen a wave of store closures. Many once popular and famous department stores in major cities across mainland China, such as Pacific Department Store, Aeon, Parkson, Jibai, Ocean Department Store, and New World Department Store, have ceased operations and exited the market. On October 10th, Yonghui Supermarket issued an announcement stating that it had not yet received the fourth phase of the 300 million yuan equity transfer payment from Dalian Yujin, and had sent letters to Dalian Yujin, Wang Jianlin, Sun Xishuang, Yifang Group, etc., and would initiate arbitration to pursue the legal responsibilities of the aforementioned responsible parties. According to the announcement, in December last year, Dalian Yujin Trading Company Limited purchased 389 million shares of Dalian Wanda Commercial Management Group Company Limited held by the company, corresponding to the number of shares held by the company before Wanda Commercial Management increased its capital and expanded its shares on August 25, 2023, accounting for 1.43% of Wanda Commercial Management's total share capital. The transfer price was 4.53 billion yuan, to be paid in 8 installments. After this transfer, Yonghui Supermarket no longer holds shares in Wanda Commercial Management. In late July this year, Yonghui Supermarket signed the supplementary agreement to the transfer agreement with Dalian Yujin, Wang Jianlin, Sun Xishuang, and Yifang Group to adjust the payment plan, adding Wang Jianlin, Sun Xishuang, and Dalian Yifang Group co-related, hereinafter referred to as Yifang Group, as transaction guarantees, and agreed that the fourth phase of the equity transfer payment of 300 million yuan should be paid before September 30th, 2024. As of the date of the announcement, October 10th, Yonghui Supermarket had not received the transfer payment, and the purchaser Dalian Yujin had not fulfilled its payment obligations as agreed, which constituted a breach of contract. Yonghui Supermarket said that it had issued a notice of accelerated maturity to Dalian Yujin, Wang Jianlin, Sun Xishuang, and Yifang Group, requiring Dalian Yujin to pay the money immediately and asking Wang Jianlin and others to assume joint and several guarantee liability. At the same time, it will file for arbitration with the Shanghai International Economic and Trade Arbitration Commission to investigate the legal responsibilities of Dalian Yujin, Wang Jianlin, Sun Xishuang, and Yifang Group. Shen Meng, director of Shangsong Capital, told Blue Whale News that for Yonghui, if the payment cannot be recovered smoothly as soon as possible, it will reduce its own operating liquidity and increase risks. For the defaulting party, it may have to pay a certain cash price for this. On October 10th, Yonghui Supermarket's stock price fell to the limit, and the latest price was 3.23 yuan per share. Tianyancha shows that Dalian Yujin was established in November 2023, with Shen Baisong as the legal representative, a registered capital of 500,000 yuan, and its only shareholder is Beijing Yifang Mingxi Information Technology Code Ltd. The latter is 100% owned by Yifang Group, and Sun Xishuang is the chairman and general manager of Yifang Group and the actual controller. According to the Securities Times, Sun Xishuang has a deep connection with Wang Jianlin. As early as 2004, Dalian Yifang Group and Wanda cooperated to develop Beijing CBD Wanda Plaza. Subsequently, Wanda and Dalian Yifang Group jointly invested in cultural tourism projects such as Changbai Mountain International Tourism Resort, Dalian Jinshi International Cultural Tourism Zone, and Xishuangbana International Resort. China's stock market fluctuates. Young people are stuck with loans for stock trading, and the market is wailing. After China's National Day holiday, China's stock market fluctuated and fell, leaving many young people stuck with loans for stock trading, and the market was wailing. The industry warned that investors should be prepared for a crash. Please see the report. Chinese people, who would have thought that it was a bull market a day ago? I was up 90,000 yesterday and lost 140,000 today, including principal and interest. On Thursday, October 10th, China's 3 major A-share indices rose and fell compared to the previous day. As of the close, the Shanghai Composite Index barely maintained at 3,301.93 points, an increase of 1.32%, while the Shenzhen Component Index fell by 0.82%, and the Chi-Next Index dropped by 2.95%. The turnover of the Shanghai and Shenzhen stock markets that day was 214.3 billion yuan, a decrease of 796.4 billion yuan from the previous trading day. The sharp drop in the stock market on Wednesday dispelled the recent optimism of retail investors. The market was wailing, and stockholders lamented the difficulty of escaping the trap. Chinese young stockholders, "Now I don't want to be rich, I just want to get out of the trap and get my money back. Why is it so difficult? What kind of market is this? It's really a one-way trip." At the end of September, after the Chinese Communist Party authorities launched so-called policies covering monetary easing, fiscal and stock market stimulus, the stock market soared and many young investors rushed in, with some even borrowing money to trade stocks. However, due to the overall deterioration of China's economy and the lack of fundamental support, the stock market fluctuated after the October National Day holiday, causing millions of new stockholders to be trapped. Stock investment manager Zheng Shuguang, for retail investors, especially newcomers, in their minds, a bull market may mean a straight or diagonal rise, but in fact, it fluctuates repeatedly. Since the A-share market rose at the end of September, more than 100 companies have announced plans to reduce their holdings, and the main funds in the Shanghai and Shenzhen stock markets have also taken the opportunity to flee. Analysts believe that the current policy of the Communist Party of China is primarily to stimulate the stock market through monetary easing and supply restrictions, without fundamentally improving corporate or economic fundamentals. Retail investors should be very cautious when entering the market. Zheng Shuguang, I think for these new and old stock investors who do not understand companies, cannot read financial statements, are unwilling to study companies, and lack a good mentality, they should resolutely prevent themselves from entering the market. Nomura Securities recently issued a warning that after the stock market frenzy, a crash will follow. The current situation of the Chinese stock market is similar to that of the stock market in 2015. Investors should be prepared for a crash. Zheng Shuguang, as for this wave, in principle, it can basically be imagined that it is driven by monetary and fiscal stimulus, relying on the existing economic scale under these stimuli. The long-term prospects are very difficult.
China Truths. Hebei's supermarket chain collapse, owner fleeing with funds, franchisees resort to sleep on streets. Recently, there have been online reports indicating the collapse of the Yuan Fuda chain of supermarkets in Baoding, Hebei, with allegations that the owner has fled with funds. Some franchisees and suppliers are resorting to street protests, sleeping outdoors. Social media has witnessed the circulation of related videos. In these videos, franchisees and suppliers accuse the company's owner of being a fraudster who took a significant amount of money or goods from them through supermarket franchise fees and subsequently absconded with the funds. Activists are utilizing this street sleeping protest method to advocate for justice. The videos have garnered attention, particularly considering the harsh winter temperatures. Information from public accounts on the mainland Chinese internet reveals that Hebei Yuan Fuda Trading Group Company, Limited is a physical company engaged in food production, packaging, and retail and wholesale businesses. It operates the Yuan Fuda brand of supermarkets in China, claiming to have 6,000 franchise chain stores nationwide, with tens of thousands of investors and millions of members. Yuan Fuda's business strategy revolves around promoting low-priced goods, often featuring promotions like recharging 100 yuan and receiving an extra 90 yuan, or spending 100 yuan and getting 40 yuan off consistently. This attracted numerous investors, and the company collected substantial franchise fees from them. However, over the last 3 years, Yuan Fuda has encountered growing operational challenges. Reports suggest that the chairman of Yuan Fuda, Jing Lei, invested the supermarket earnings in real estate and multiple listed companies, resulting in failed investments. This led to the breakdown of Yuan Fuda's financial chain, resulting in supermarket closures and franchisees losing both their commission fees and capital. In mid-September of this year, reports emerged that Yuan Fuda's owner, Jing Lei, was suspected of illegally absorbing public deposits and had already been subjected to criminal coercive measures by public security authorities. Following the announcement of the alleged illegal absorption of public deposits by Yuan Fuda Trading Group Company, Limited, suppliers and franchisees of Yuan Fuda have expressed dissatisfaction, contending that Jing Lei's involvement extends beyond illegal fundraising and should be characterized as fraud. In mid-October, a Chinese netizen posted on Weibo, alleging that Jing Lei had divorced his wife, who departed abroad with their child, taking tens of billions with her. Jing Lei was arrested, and all Yuan Fuda supermarkets turned yellow, signifying their closure. As of now, authorities have not disclosed any new developments in the case involving Yuan Fuda and Jing Lei. There has been no official response or explanation provided to the affected franchisees and suppliers by the authorities. Chinese gig economy market, more difficult this year than before the pandemic. The mainland gig economy is grappling with challenging conditions, leading to lower treatment for gig workers who are facing difficulties in finding employment. Many individuals assert that this year's gig job market is more demanding than the period before the pandemic. The gig economy is characterized by short-term, flexible jobs facilitated by digital platforms or online marketplaces. In this setup, individuals, often referred to as gig workers or independent contractors, engage in temporary or project-based work instead of traditional, long-term employment. Zhang Qinggang, director of the China Research Center for New Employment Forms, recently conducted research on gig job markets in 4 cities: Beijing, Zhengzhou, Hangzhou, and Shenzhen. He observed changes in the mainland gig job market compared to a few years ago. In the gig job market at the intersection of the South Third Ring Road and Jingmi Road in Zhengzhou, Hunan Province, the downturn in the construction industry has left older migrant workers, primarily engaged in daily construction work, with essentially no available work. In the gig job market at Majukio in Beijing, gig workers are facing the challenge of fewer job opportunities and reduced daily wages. However, the situation is relatively better in Shenzhen, providing some choices for workers. In these major cities, gig workers often find themselves able to work for only about 10 days in a month, and during peak seasons, they may manage to work for 10 to 20 days. Gig workers express that this year's job market is even more challenging than before the pandemic. Although there were some gig opportunities in July and August, job prospects significantly dwindled afterward. Especially recently, with the conclusion of the busy farming season and the gradual cooling weather, a new wave of laborers has entered the daily gig job market, resulting in a very low proportion of individuals who can actually secure gig positions each day. Due to the difficulty in finding employment, many laborers are forced to return to their hometowns prematurely. Some find themselves sleeping under bridges every day. In this challenging job-seeking environment, migrant workers also face the dilemma of increasing medical insurance costs and inadequate rural pension funds. Additionally, according to the survey report on migrant workers released by the National Bureau of Statistics of the CCP, the average age of migrant workers is on the rise. In 2022, the average age of migrant workers is 42.3 years, an increase of 0.6 years from the previous year. Among them, the proportion of migrant workers aged 50 and above is 29.2%, with a total exceeding 86.32 million, an increase of 1.9 percentage points from the previous year. In 2012, a decade ago, this proportion was only 15.1%. In the gig job market in Zhengzhou, the oldest gig worker is already in their 70s, and there are many migrant workers in their 60s looking for work there. Zhang Chenggang remarked, daily gig work has become the last resort for many gig workers' employment. Besides this option, where else can they go to earn money? I really can't think of any alternatives. A significant portion of gig workers is already on the verge of survival. CCP enlists overseas internet celebrities for grand external propaganda, following their playlist. The Australian think tank recently revealed that, capitalizing on the escalating influence of the internet and social media platforms globally, the CCP has reinstated the recruitment of overseas internet celebrities for its big external propaganda. These individuals are actively involved in promoting the party's narratives both within and outside China, aligning with the CCP's official messages. Amid the current challenges faced by the CCP domestically and internationally, the focus shifts to understanding how the CCP nurtures these overseas internet celebrities and their role in the party's propaganda efforts. To delve into this analysis, it's crucial to explore the CCP's United Front work, extending overseas under the term big external propaganda. This encompasses a series of activities and strategies aimed at promoting the CCP's voice and image globally, with the intent of enhancing international standing, bolstering soft power, and increasing influence on the world stage. In essence, big external propaganda serves as a crucial tool for the CCP government to advance the interests of the state and propagate its ideology, seeking acknowledgement of its policies from other sovereign nations. The goal is to expand the global influence of the CCP in terms of discourse and behavior. A recent report from the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, titled Singing from the CCP's Songbook, sheds light on various tactics used by the CCP. The report gathered information on over 120 overseas internet celebrities with active accounts on major Chinese video streaming platforms like Bilibili, a video sharing website based in Shanghai, Douyin, a Chinese TikTok platform, Xigua, a Chinese online video sharing platform owned by ByteDance, and others. The findings indicate that these overseas internet celebrities are reaching a growing international audience, with some amassing millions of followers in China and millions more on platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and X, formerly Twitter. The CCP has identified, utilized, and actively developed these foreign influencers, considering them as unique propaganda assets on social media. By leveraging the popularity of these figures, the CCP aims to quash international criticism, amplify the party's main themes, and strengthen its influence both domestically and internationally. One example mentioned in the report is American video blogger Gerald S. Koval. In a video posted on YouTube upon his arrival in Shanghai on March 15, 2021, he expressed contentment, stating, "I'm happy now because I feel free." He praised China's COVID-19 prevention measures as the most organized globally. At a time when the CCP faced international criticism for its pandemic control measures, Gerald S. Koval's videos garnered recognition not only from China Central Television but also from Hua Chunying, the spokesperson of the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who shared and promoted his content. The report suggests that by coordinating efforts with foreign internet celebrities and other communicators, Beijing aims to establish a unified chorus capable of more effectively promoting the party's narrative than the traditional official media. An editor from CCP's official media emphasized the goal of cultivating individuals who can speak up for the CCP during critical moments, referring to them as foreign mouths, foreign pens, and foreign brains. Beijing's ultimate objective is to uphold CCP control over culture, discourse, and ideology, eliminate the impact of foreign free political speech, and thereby maintain the legitimacy of the CCP. The primary strategies employed by the CCP government in executing big external propaganda include international media. The CCP harnesses some of the world's most influential propaganda tools, utilizing international media outlets like Xinhua News Agency, China Daily, People's Daily, and other party-controlled media to disseminate its narrative globally. International platforms such as China Radio International, CRI, and China Global Television Network, CGTN, broadcast programs in both Chinese and foreign languages, covering news about China and global affairs. International social media, organized and outsourced agencies leveraged the internet and social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc., to communicate their perspectives and assertions to a global audience. Propaganda films. Significant financial resources are invested in producing propaganda films and documentaries showcasing China's accomplishments in culture, history, economy, technology, and society. Cultural exchange activities. Actively participating in cultural exchange initiatives, including cultural festivals, art exhibitions, music performances, etc., to showcase both traditional Chinese culture and contemporary innovations. Foreign visits and exchanges. CCP government officials, scholars, and experts frequently engage in foreign visits, deliver speeches, and participate in seminars to convey the policy perspectives and positions of the CCP authorities. Foreign students, attracting a substantial number of foreign students who play a vital role in promoting the glorious and righteous image of the CCP and facilitating the dissemination of Chinese culture. 45 billion yuan has spent over 14 years for implementation of Big External Propaganda Plan. Since 2009, the CCP has allocated 45 billion yuan, approximately $6.3 billion, for the implementation of the Big External Propaganda Plan, with the goal of promoting its authoritarian system and influencing international discourse. The noteworthy impact of this substantial investment has recently captured the attention of scholars from esteemed institutions such as Yale and Harvard. A group of scholars, including those from York University in Canada, conducted a multinational study on these matters, revealing surprisingly insightful results. Professor Shen Rongqing from York University openly questions the presumed greater difficulty in promoting an authoritarian system compared to a democratic one. He also notes that the scholars heavily relied on information from the China Global Television Network, CCTGV, an English-language CCP Central Television channel. Convincing individuals with propaganda content under the CCP government system would, in theory, be even more challenging. Professor Shen asserts, if you think so, then you are wrong. He elaborates on the research methodology, revealing that the scholars selected 19 countries as research samples, spanning 6 continents and encompassing countries with diverse political systems, ranging from dictatorship and semi-democracy to democracy, and including high, medium, and low-income nations. After exposure to the CCP's external propaganda, many respondents were genuinely influenced, shifting their support towards the authoritarian Communist Party system in China. They began to believe that the CCP could bring about economic growth, social stability, and effective party leadership. Professor Shen quotes the research results, indicating that, on average, irrespective of whether they come from wealthy or poor countries, democratic or authoritarian nations, after exposure to the CCP's external propaganda, the ratio of those believing in the superiority of the CCP's authoritarian model over the U.S. democratic model has increased from 16% to 54%, tripling the original percentage. Scholar, CCP's global image worse than Tiananmen, she confronts 3 challenges. The CCP is facing increasing isolation on the international stage, and some U.S. scholars go so far as to suggest that its current reputation is worse than during the Tiananmen Square massacre in 1989. These scholars identify 3 major challenges confronting the CCP. In a report by Taiwan's United Daily News, David Shambaugh, a prominent U.S. expert on Chinese issues, participated in the China's Modernization Under One-Party Rule international seminar organized by Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council and National Chengchi University on November 30, where he delivered a keynote speech. Shambaugh emphasized that the outside world still lacks a full understanding of the stance of CCP leader Xi Jinping, urging caution when predicting the future direction of China. He noted that Xi Jinping has been in power for more than a decade, and the unpredictability of his actions, such as suppressing business groups, implementing an extreme zero-COVID pandemic control strategy, and responding to the outbreak in unexpected ways, has caught many by surprise. Shambaugh bluntly stated that the international community holds a very low opinion of the entire China, CCP, and China's, CCP, reputation is continuously declining, having been low since the era of Mao Zedong, and now it is even lower than during the Tiananmen Square incident. After the CCP's 1989 massacre of students in Tiananmen Square, it faced severe condemnation from Western governments and news media. This led to economic sanctions imposed by many Western countries, and an arms embargo against the CCP remains in effect to this day. Shambaugh highlighted dissatisfaction within both the CCP and the general public, noting unprecedented discontent from civil sectors and business people. The Uyghur and Tibetan ethnic groups also express high levels of dissatisfaction. Those supporting Xi Jinping primarily include benefited bureaucrats, state security agencies, public security departments, and a small minority of extreme nationalists and wolf warrior types. David Shambaugh has identified 3 challenges currently facing Xi Jinping. Firstly, there is a pervasive sense of uncertainty in mainland Chinese society, reflected in people tightening their budgets and reducing consumption. Secondly, the challenge of making everything safe, revealing a leader and regime lacking confidence and feeling insecure, perceiving threats and enemies everywhere. The Beijing authorities' sense of insecurity has led to crackdowns on spies and investigations into some foreign companies, resulting in arrests and the departure of many foreigners. According to data from China's State Administration of Foreign Exchange, foreign direct investment decreased by $11.8 billion in the third quarter of this year, marking the first recorded negative value for a quarter in China. Concurrently, the number of international students heading to China is on the decline. The Wall Street Journal reports that in 2019, over 11,000 Americans were studying in China. However, according to data from the U.S. Embassy in Beijing, this number has dropped to 350 this year. These developments undoubtedly deliver a significant blow to the Chinese economy, aligning with Shambaugh's third challenge for the CCP. He highlights that the mainland Chinese economy is stagnating and contracting, with surging local debt and decreasing exports. He underscores that in nations like mainland China, the crucial matter at this developmental phase unquestionably revolves around the connection between politics and the economy. To escape the middle-income trap and attain modernization, the political system must actively facilitate this progress. He referenced the observations of scholars Darren Acemoglu and James A. Robinson in the book Why Nations Fail, underscoring the imperative to distance oneself from an exploitative state and transition towards an inclusive one. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.